I'm doing a second video today about accountability. I got a lot of feedback about my last one, and people seem to really resonate with the whole concept that we need to hold our employees accountable. But what's also coming up for me is the whole notion of holding leadership accountable. Time and time again, I've been, told a story or witnessed or experienced or read something about how we don't necessarily trust leadership. We're not really feeling comfortable with the leadership that we're getting. We are unsure that they are really doing what they said they were going to do. And so I wanted to talk today about holding yourself accountable as a leader. When I talked in my last blog about holding employees accountable, I talked about accountability being giving an account of the events. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do in your leadership is be really accountable. Give an account of your events to the people that follow you. Be clear on what you've said, be clear on what you're doing, and be clear on why you're doing it that way. So let me start with an example. I'm hoping that most of you brushed your teeth this morning. I know I did. And I brushed my teeth because I think it's important, because I think it's important for my own health. I think it's important for not only my oral health, but my whole body's health. But we brush our teeth not because somebody's standing behind us, like a mother, poking us in the back. We don't brush our teeth because we're afraid somebody's going to catch us if we don't do it. We brush our teeth because we believe it's important. What happens, though, in leadership roles sometimes is that people only do things if they're worried that they might get caught not doing it. Or they try and cover things up so that people don't know the full truth or the full story because we're worried that if they did, they might not like what they hear. So here's one example. As a leader, you might start a policy that says if you're taking vacation, you have to fill out this form. And so, somebody asks, I need to take 2 weeks off this summer, or somebody's getting married and I have to fly to Jamaica to go to the wedding. And you say to them, yep, great, fill out the form so I can make sure that everybody's on board. I know when you're taking time off. I can make sure that you have the time in your vacation bank. So I'm making sure that we're not having 2 senior leaders off at the same time, whatever the reason is. You get them to fill out the form because you have a system that you want to follow, because you want to make sure that things are fair and equitable, and that you want to make sure that you're on top of things. And then Adam comes to you one day at about 5:30. He's forgotten to tell you that his wife booked a 3-day trip to Vegas for them, and he's running late. He has, put in a long day, and he's got some more work to do that evening. And he says, can I just tell you and not fill out the form today? And you like Adam. And you know that he's been working hard and he's done a couple extra things for you. And you know that he needs a break. And so you say to them, it's okay, Adam. Don't worry about the form this time. It's all good. You've just not held yourself accountable. You have just not followed what you said you were going to do. And suddenly, this one time might become more than one time, or it might become just for those times that you're in a good mood or like the person that asked you. Holding yourself accountable means you demonstrate time and time again that what you say is important to you is what you do, regardless of whether somebody's going to catch you not making Adam do it or not, or whether you just aren't worried about it that day. It's about making sure that you do what you say you're going to do. Yes, it's awkward telling somebody at the end of the day that they do need to spend an extra 10 minutes filling out the form, even though it seems dorky to them, and that that they have a busy schedule and that, they're trying to get home to their young family. Yes, it's awkward, but it's also about being accountable as a leader. It's also about doing what you said you were going to do. I'm implementing this policy. This is the way it is. That doesn't mean you can't allow for flexibility. It doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge there are things outside the box that need to happen differently sometimes. But again, it's not about hiding that or keeping that a secret or about hoping nobody catches you doing that. It's about being clear and upfront. Yes, Adam, don't fill out the form tonight, but I expect you to do it tomorrow morning when you come in. Making sure that you are holding yourself accountable to a system that you put into place. Believe in that or not. Here's another example. One of my, all-time favorites is when 2 teams or 2 sites or 2 different divisions of the organization are in conflict, and one site comes to the other and says, or one site comes to the boss and says, we're not happy with this person, this leader, this team. Sometimes they'll come back and they'll say, you guys need to deal with it yourselves. You need to sort it out. But sometimes they'll say, I've got it. For whatever reason, I've got it and I'll handle it. What happens then is, and I don't question leaders in this, but their belief often is it's a personality conflict, which it absolutely might be, and happens more times than I care to remember. And so they basically go to one side and say, come on, can we just play nice? And they go to the other side and say, yeah, it's all good. I've talked to them. They're going to do what you asked. Done deal. In reality, though, it's usually slightly more than that. There is something going on. The personality conflict might, be bringing it to a bit of more of a head, but there's something going on. So what the leader needs to do is actually have a conversation with both sides. But more importantly, they need to give an account of that conversation. They need to be accountable. So I talked to Dawn. She's aware that her team's not booking the vehicle before taking it. She's agreed that she's going to communicate to her staff that they need to use the electronic calendar to book the company vehicle 24 hours in advance. I'm also going to follow up with HR to make sure that is clearly documented in our policy, and we're going to review that policy at the next management meeting. Done. Clear. You've given account of what you discussed. You've given an account of how you're going to follow up on that. And is it personality conflict? Absolutely, maybe, but that to some degree is irrelevant. The point is that as a leader, you've given an account of what's going on. You've been clear in terms of what's happening. Accountability is a two-way street. Yes, you need to hold your staff accountable. You need to hold your employees accountable to what they said, what they're doing, and what their plans are. But you also need to hold yourself accountable as a leader. And it's really important that you take that time to give an account of what's going on for you. If you've implemented a new software system, and I've seen this a zillion times, we come up with these new plans and spend a lot of money in terms of investing in a software system, in training the staff, in buying tablets and sending everybody on their way, and then for whatever reason it doesn't work. It's too costly, it's not as efficient as we thought it is, there's more resistance from staff, and you come back to management meeting and you say, yeah, just some delays, we're moving along and we'll be, on track in a couple months. And you come back again and you report back that it's not working. We've again hit a few snags, but we're still, gung-ho, we're going to get this project underway. And again we come back, and a year later, people are vaguely saying, whatever happened to that system that we were implementing? Where did it go? And the next time a new system comes into play, they're like, oh, that's probably like the last one. These guys had this great idea and it's just not going to follow suit. Or do you remember last time we got all this new program, and what happened to it? Be accountable. Come back in writing, in conversations, in meetings, in reports, again and again and again. Be accountable for what you've said you're going to do. We're going to implement this electronic system. We ran into this issue. We've decided instead to do this, or we've decided to delay it for this reason. But be clear. Be accountable for your actions. Don't just stop when the going gets tough and not do it anymore. Be clear on what you're doing. As a leader, your job is to be accountable. It's your job to be accountable not only to your staff and to your boss, but also to yourself. So be clear on what you've said you're going to do. Follow up. Give an account of your actions, whether it's gone the way you intended or not. And be transparent. And people will have more trust in you. People will believe in you more. And people will see that you are real and that you do what you say you're going to do.